What's up, yo? It's your boy. Those who haven't subscribed, I don't know what y'all doing. Hit that subscribe button. You already know. More basketball content coming your way.
And what confidence and what momentum will UP carry all the way to the Final Four?
Hi, Coach!
Ganda ng shirt mo ah.
Siyempre, sinuot ko. Nung nalaman ko kung kailan tayo. Ni-ready ko na eh.
Teka, may asawa ka na ba?
Tay tayo dyan. Wala pa, Coach.
Talaga?
Wala. Binata pa ako. Binata pa.
Naalala ko kasi, nag-guesting ako pero a few years back eh. Tapos sinuturo nila, girlfriend ni Mikey yan eh. Talaga? Sabi ko. Pero baka noon pa yon.
Patay tayo dyan sa few years back mo, Coach. Pero may girlfriend ako ngayon. May ibang girlfriend ako ngayon.
Iba na girlfriend mo.
And I think, siguro hindi mo rin napapansin kasi syempre pag games, sobrang focused mo. Pero she's an avid supporter of UP.
Talaga?
Oh, kasi graduating pa lang eh. So, batch niya tong anong to eh.
Ano rin to? Ano siya? Anong kurso?
Tourism. Pero ano siya, Coach eh. Graduating ngayon eh. So, bata pa. So, kabatch natin niya si Juan talaga. Si Juan ang kabatch.
Bata pa nga yun.
Bata pa yun. O kaya matanda na lang na ako, Coach. Pero, yun ang magandang
Ilan ka na ba?
30, Coach. 30.
Parang kailan lang, no? 30 ka na?
Tayo dyan. Yan ang magandang opening. Ito ang pinakamagandang opening sa lahat ng interview ko. Nagsimula sa ex ko, tas napunta sa current ko, tas ngayon age ko na. Akala ko ako ang taga-interview, parang ako yung na-interview.
Hindi, ano lang ako, curious lang ako sa iyo.
Hindi, pero Coach, I'm so excited for this interview because to everyone watching and to everyone who has been supporting my channel from the start, I always was a believer. Talagang from the start.
Wow.
Sinasabi ko talaga sa channel na to na talaga naniniwala ako sa style mo, sa pagkatao mo, sa the way you treat your players, the way you treat people around you. And I am now with, in my opinion, the most scrutinized, most criticized, most misunderstood coach in college today. Eh, di ko rin masisi kasi nasa iyo rin yung team na pinaka-hyped, pinaka-artista. So I feel like it comes with the territory. That's why I'm so excited to have a conversation with you and really, pick your brain and get to know Coach Bo Perasol. And unang-una, Coach, salamat sa oras mo. Alam kong super busy mo ngayong pandemic.
Hindi naman. Dito lang naman lagi sa maraming ginagawa pero natigil kasi yung natigil yung golf, so hindi kami nakakapag-golf. Tapos once in a while malapit-lapit kami sa dagat dito sa Laguna, so we get to hit the beach. Mahilig talaga ako sa dagat, no? Lumaki ako sa coastal area sa Jensan sa Mindanao, so yan ang kinalakan ko na lugar, no.
Sa dagat. I think you're friends with my tito.
Who's this?
Jim Reyes. Bujim.
Of course.
Sa golf daw siya diyan eh. Golf. So, yun, I'm sure you miss basketball. I'm sure you're raring to go, especially with the new recruits and syempre the challenges also. Later we'll talk about yung exit ni Kobe and of course yung decision ni Juan. Because yun yung obviously two guys na malaking bagay sa team mo. But let's start from I don't want to start from the beginning kasi pag beginning yung coach, ang tagal ng usapan na to. Pero right. I know that you were part of the 86 championship. Am I right?
Hindi. 88 naman ako.
88 ka pumasok.
88 ako. Yeah,
si Coach Ricky ang umabot.
Coach Ricky ang kasama. Kasama ron. So, inabot ko lang yung mga remnants na players nila. Pero si Benji yung inabot ko, sila Ramil, no, but most of them nabasa ko na si OG pala, BANYO and all of that, no.
Yeah.
Sila Jigs, naging teammate ko pa. Pero hindi ko na inabot yung 86. I was in high school then.
Oh, now I remember because Coach Olsen Racela mentioned na ikaw ang kabatch niya.
Yeah, totoo
So,
yan. Oo,
so
sa
now I
Ateneo.
remember. Now I remember how he entered tapos na yung championship ng UP. Okay, so sakto nga yung timeline. Okay, so you played coach for the UP Fighting Maroons in 88 hanggang 92.
5 years.
Oh,
5
92.
years, yeah.
89, 90, 91, 92. Okay, so 92. And then after that, coach, did you push to go pro as a player?
Alam mo, ang kwento kasi niyan, no, hindi katulad mo na mahusay ka talaga na player. Ako, ano lang, yung alam mo yung galing probinsya na palaban, matapang sa loob ng court, no, humahabol ng rebounds, pero undersized, unskilled. Ibig sabihin, walang dribbling, walang proper coaching, no, pero nagustuhan ni si Coach Ray, if you remember, Coach Ray Madrid was my coach, no? So siguro nagustuhan niya yung ganong klaseng personality, and ako walk-in tryout ako kasi ako estudyante ako ng UP. Hindi naman ako hindi ako yung nag-tryout ng summer. So nung galing Mindanao, I was able to know na ako gusto ko mag-basketball, malakas ang loob ko. Pero nagtanong-tanong lang ako na may tryout ba, and then in the end nagustuhan nga ako ni Coach Ray, and then yun na after that I was playing a 4 pero undersized undersized, so hindi naman ako kasing galing nung iba, so but I tried nag-tryout ako sa PBL those times. Pero feeling ko hindi talaga ako ganong kagaling para umabot sa ganong level.
So from the start, hindi naman from the start, pero like syempre as your years go by, nakikita mo naman yung improvement mo and how you fare against your batchmates and against the competition. So after your college career, you tried out PBL. I assume you tried for the PBA then, and then it didn't work out. Was it right away, I want to stay in basketball even if hindi as a player?
Yung nasa isip ko kasi wasn't only basketball. So pagkatapos nung college, kasi ang kaibahan natin sa pag-iisip ng mga taga-UP, lalo na pag gumraduate ka na. Kasi magtapos ako sa playing years ko, gumraduate na rin ako. So parang iniisip mo na meron ka ring confidence kasi they keep on harping into your minds, into your consciousness na hindi ka mamomroblema ng trabaho pag nag-graduate ka ng UP, So true enough, although naghirap ako sa pag-a-apply and all of that, meron naman palagi, So pero umpisa ka sa bottom, sa trabaho. Pero alam mo yung tawag ng passion mo habang nasa opisina ako and all of that, so parang merong fire lagi sa heart mo na ba't ba hindi ako nag-pursue ng basketball, because I was siguro mga 22, 23 years old at that time. So iniisip mo, subukan ko kaya. So bumalik ulit ako, doon ako nag-tryout, and then I was part of the I was asked by the way si yung tatay ni Coach Paulo Mendoza who just passed away, so yun yung unang nag-hire sa akin ng Coach Orly Bauzon to be part of the UP High School, so ako yung naging head coach noon.
Agad?
Ako yung naging head coach. Agad. Ako yung naging head coach ng team na yon, So siguro nag-coach ako doon sa mga 1, 2, 3 or 4 years. So yun yung umpisa ko. Kaya kung titingnan mo yung career ko, full circle. Nagsimula sa high school, nag-college, and then nag-amateur, MBA, PBA, balik sa college, yung ganon. And then, all those while, Mikey, ako, parang iniisip ko, yung coaching, hindi talaga para sa akin. I've met a lot of coaches na sinasabi na talagang naghahanap ng coaching job. I wasn't that kind of coach kasi iniisip ko, malaking responsibilidad ng coach at saka at the same time, parang hindi lang akma para sa akin. Yun yung iniisip ko all the time. Pero alam mo, pag umabot ka na sa age na katulad ko, na medyo nasa kalagitnaan ka na, sinasabi mo na pag calling mo talaga, no, doesn't matter what people will say, it doesn't matter what the opinions of people are, you know, for as long as ginagawa mo ng tama yan according to you, no, according to what you have learned as a person in all your lifetime, gagawa at gagawa ng paraan eh. Mangyayari at mangyayari, no? Oh, so yun yung ano ko, yun yung parang naging malaking lesson ko sa buhay, no? Katulad ng sabi ko sa iyo, sino naman mag-iisip na magkakaroon ka ng ganitong klaseng programa, no? Pero it was deep inside of you noon pa man, yung personality mo, yung sabi ko nga, yung intonation ng boses mo, no? Napakaraming broadcasters diyan na pag naririnig mo, kasi broadcast ako eh,
Yeah,
no? So pag naririnig mo, magiging interesante ka agad, no? Yung boses pa lang, very interesting ka agad na napakikinggan mo, ano ba sinasabi nito? So kaya makikita ko na nasa ano ka, nasa pathway mo ikaw.
Well, yeah, hopefully that di lang anghel ka, hopefully mangyari ngayon. But so coach, your first coaching job was already a head coaching job.
Yeah.
Tapos UAAP na to, UAAP?
UAAP yan. Yung juniors team ng
juniors team. So yun ang agad yung first
yeah, una ko
foray mo
kagad
sa
yan.
So you spent 3-4 years with the UPIS program. I'm assuming it was a small program pa. I mean in terms of like siguro yung dating UPIS court pa yung
yung court, yung walang yung puro damo.
Yung semento.
Panahon nila Coach Paulo Mendoza. So mga mga early 90s. Early 90s going to mid 90s.
It wasn't kumbaga, you were having fun, you were fulfilling your passion, pero it wasn't something that feeling mo, ito yung gagawin ko talaga for the long haul. Kasi you said you weren't really the type na gusto ko mag-coach dito. Like you were just enjoying the moment na coach ka sa UPS.
Yeah, hindi. At saka yung Mikey, yung pagtuturo ko, it wasn't hindi yung X&O. X&O na ito, ganito yung ating opensa, ganito yung depensa natin. Hindi, yung parang nasa loob-loob ko, parang paano ko ba tutulungan yung mga batang ito? So puro yan. Nakakatuwa nga kasi when I joined Facebook middle of last year, itong pandemic na to eh.
Ngayon wala sumali ng Facebook, coach. Buti na lang ngayon lang.
Buti na lang. So, ang nangyari, marami dun sa mga former players ko, high school pa, na nag-message, coach, yung ganito. And then, they were all very, very candid about what they have learned. Yeah. So, sabi ko, it was just a testament. Testament yan ng ginagawa mo na it wasn't, wala namang nag-PBA sa kanila eh. Yeah. Diba? But coach, I really learned a lot from what you said about just being your best. Just reaping what you sow. Yung mga ganung bagay ba. So hindi mo na maalala yun because I was only about 23, 24 years old those times, no? But the impact that you had done with itong mga tao na to ngayon, may mga anak na to, mga college na yung mga anak nila, is just so heartwarming, no? And it's I hope that the time will come na although in many of my interviews sinasabi ko yan in my talks na yung responsibility at accountability ng coach is not just doon sa court. Kasi ilang percent ba ang nagiging basketball players talaga dyan? But marami sa kanila ang nagiging normal citizens of our country, yung magiging normal na tatay, normal na naging negosyante, naging professional. But the words that you have imparted to them are going to linger in their hearts and in their minds in their lifetime. So yung mga ganung bagay.
Yung kakasabi lang ni Coach Po, kung fourth year high school din ako ngayon, UP na ako, pipirma na ako sa UP. Na-recruit na rin ako eh. But it shows, Coach, na it's more than basketball to you. And I think yun nga yung testament yung mga former players mo may message sa'yo. It's because yung X and O's at that moment, sige, it would be effective sa court, di ba, at that specific game, during that specific game. But yung nagsistick talaga is always yung lessons, yung natuturo mo in terms of life in general, di ba? Hindi lang sa basketball. And I think this is one of the biggest reasons why talaga, parang yung players mo sobrang free maglaro. Like talagang naniniwala sila tatay. Lagi na, everybody says you're a father figure to them. All the players that I've talked to, laging tatay Bo. 'Di ba? Kahit nga kami mga fans, tatay Bo tawag namin sa'yo. So, but from UPIS, then you spent 4 years there, you were saying na yung goal mo lang was to impart knowledge or wisdom to these children. What happened next? Like, did you have a successful stint sa UPIS no na inevitable yung offer ng coach ka dito naman?
Wala. In fact, ang siguro pinakamarami na naming panalo noon would be 3 or 4 in a season. Kasi wala namang recruitment no at that time. So mga maliliit, natatawa nga ako kasi pag nagkamayan na yung UPIS at saka yung Ateneo Blue Eagles at that time, no? Ang time noon sila Enrico Villanueva,
Wesley,
BJ. Talagang nawawala yung maroon. Nakokobera ng blue. Sabi, nasa na yung mga players ko? Nakokover. Kasi ang liliit talaga. No? Wala pa kaming court. No, I would remember na alas 5 ng umaga yung ensayo namin. Si Mang Rod. Si Mang Rod would open the gym for us about 4:45. No, kaya napakalaki ng tulong ng sakripisyo niya yan sa akin. Naka-tricycle pa yan. No, naglalakad lang ako from area 1 papunta sa gym. Alas ko dahil wala pang UP ikot Alas 4:30 pa lang naglalakad na ako. No? And then kaya nga ito yung mga experiences ko, Mikey. Hindi yan it's something na pag sinasabi ng mga budding coaches, coach, gustong-gusto ko maging successful coach. Ano bang gagawin ko? Sabi ko,
dami
you have to go
dadaanan.
through. Alam mo, ang dami. Well, ewan ko kung panahon ngayon, but during my time, talagang hirap. No? Hirap talaga yung dinaanan ko. No, there was a time na I had to, alas 4:30, and then I would cross sa tourism, sa AIT. And then I would commute from there going to Makati because I have a day job sa bank. Kasi hindi naman hindi magkatugma yung pera na makukuha ko. So yung perang makukuha ko would suffice para sa pangangailangan ko for the month. I was single at that time. So yun yung initial ko na experience as a coach. At kung sinasabi mo na was there success and was it inevitable for me to have offers, like walang success yun. Kaya nga after that I was offered to be an assistant coach in the PBL pa at that time. PBL. PABL ba dati o PBL? PABL yun. So before that was Philippine Basketball League. Yun yung mga and then after that tuloy-tuloy yan, I was offered to be the head coach of an NBA team, mga late 90s na to, And kaya nga, Mikey, ano yung sinasabi ko, ako kasi I have deep faith in God's plan for my life, na pag kahit na hindi mo gugustuhin, if that is the path, that is the job, that is the calling that God has called you to be in, kahit anong gawin mo it's just going to be there. I wasn't successful in my high school stint. I wasn't successful in my stint sa PABL. I wasn't successful in my MBA career team. Pero kung titingin ka sa naging experience ko, inabot ko na lahat Nag-PBA pa ako ng more than 10 years. Nakapag-championship pa ako ng 2 beses. Bumalik ako sa Ateneo, who would know, naabot ka ng naabot ka doon, di ba? Babalik ka sa UP, maabot ka ng championship ulit sa UP. So I really feel that it's not just about me. It's just about who I was called to be. I was just part of that. Hindi mo sinasabi, ako kasi to magaling ko. Hindi, I never believed that.
Yeah, and I think talaga kumbaga you just followed yung even if you were saying na hindi ganun ka-successful yung mga first few coaching jobs mo, nakikita mo kumbaga, if someone is offering me a job, why not? Let's try again. Kumbaga, tingnan natin if I can be successful with this team or on this level, ganun. But from what I remember, ako, ang fondest memory ko was, well, hindi pa naman kasi ako masyadong MBA, like I knew a couple NBA players, pero coaches, really, hindi naman ako. Coach Joel Balal lang kilala ko, Pasig Rizal Pirates Yun lang talaga napapanood ko rin kasi home court nila dito sa Antipolo sa Inares
Yeah.
But from my end, was your big break really yung Powerade? With what you think, saan ka talaga nag-shift na pwede ako maging coach talagang, like high level coach?
Yeah, I think it was the championship I had with Air 21 against Ginebra, no? So just remember that was a game 7.
Beat the starting five of your Barangay Ginebra.
Free throws not going the way of Barangay Ginebra. 2 out of 9 pa lang sila.
No, so parang people would have a perception, hey, this is a high caliber coach kasi umabot ka ng championship against Ginebra, game 7.
Sorry, 2000 ano to?
I think it was 2008, if I'm not mistaken. That's an all-Filipino championship. My players were Rani Del Dio Campo, Gary David, Arwin Santos, Winnie Arboleda, KG, Canyaneta.
So, Coach, how did you get that Air 21 job for like dun muna? Like how did you where did you come from? Where did you come from?
From PABL, nag-well coat ang team ko, no, yung well coat na yan, yung
malakas yun.
Rainer Shine, no. But late na yon. Dito kami sa umpisa pa lang. So I was asked by the Surigao Miners to be their head coach, and then kinuha ako ng FedEx Laguna Lakers. Okay, FedEx Laguna Lakers. I was with Coach Mon Fernandez and Coach Ed Cordero. No, kami ang magkakasama doon. And then the owner, Bert Lina, and the president, Mr. Lito Alvarez, they asked me after that. Siguro they saw me. I was only an assistant coach and I took over for about half a season. They asked me to be part of their company. Company. So may company sila, yung FedEx Express, at saka yung Air 21, no? So they asked me, sabi niya, Coach, gusto mo ba talaga maging coach? Sabi niya, because we are offering you are a UP grad, you have the leadership skills, you have the communication skills. Sabi ko, would you like to head our Southern Luzon operations, no? Mas maganda ang sweldo mo, mas maganda ang benefits mo kasi corporate yan
Mas
diba?
Stable, mas
stable yan and all of that. So I talked to my wife, sinabi ko ito yung offer. Sabi niya, ikaw, kung ano yung feeling mo. So yun nga yung relief ko. Yun yung ang irony niyan, Mikey, was that gave me a relief, no, na parang ay, salamat, mawawala na ako sa basketball. Because I was really a great fan. Lagi ko sinasabi niya, I was a great fan of basketball. In a sense na talagang sinusundan ko yung Ginebra, sinusundan ko yung mga kaibigan ko sa PBA, na I really cheer. No? Nag-cheer talaga ako. Na pag-coach ka, hindi mo magagawa. Kasi nag-iisip ka palagi. Gusto mo, fan ka. Ako, ganun ako. So, yun. I spent siguro mga almost 10 years, no, sa corporate world, no, as part of their executive team. And then nawala yung MBA, and then bumili ng PBA franchise si Mr. Bert Lina.
Yeah.
You know? So nung bumili siya ng franchise, but nung nagkaroon sila ng mga coaches, siguro in about 2 years time naka-4 o 5 coaches yung FedEx, no, Air 21, kasi Mr. Lina has a very strong opinion on how his team is going to be run. You know, ganung klaseng tao siya eh. May pag-iisip siya na ito dapat. And then to cut the long story short, probably they remember that they have a coach in their executive team, sa company. Coach, sumali ka doon. Bumalik ka mag-coach. Kaya sabi ko, sir, ayoko na yan. Hindi, sumali ka doon. Pero nandiyan ka pa rin, nagtatrabaho ka pa rin.
Sabay.
Oh, sabay. So, and then when I took over, I was first an assistant for a conference. And then when I took over, siguro mga naka 3 years na sila o 4 years na sa PBA. When I took over, that became their best finish, the third place finish against Ginebra also. Kasi dati, Mikey, meron pang battle for third. May battle for championship, may battle for third. So parang nag-championship kami for battle for third, na umabot kami ng pinaka-best finish.
That was your first conference?
Oo, first conference ko yun. I took over as a head coach. So tuwan-tuwa yung may-ari, no, and I followed him to the T kasi gusto ni Mr. Bertley na talagang gusto niya takbuhan, outside shots, may mga ideas siya which was very sound at the time also. No, so and then naging Air 21 yon.
Yeah, yep.
So nung nag-take over na ako, nag-took over na ako, medyo ako na yung pinakamatagal na coach doon. So and then nag-championship kami, ang pinaka nag-championship kami against Ginebra, all Filipino 'yon, and then I think they decided to sell the franchise, it became the Burger King, if you remember. Burger King, which Coach Yang was able to coach. So nung tinake over na yan, I wanted to go back again. Masaya na rin ako ulit kasi balik na ako sa corporate. Makakapahinga na ako ng konti. And then dumating etong offer ng Coca-Cola pa at the time.
Yeah.
Kasi si Coach Kenneth Duremdes was the interim head coach. So he called me up if I could help him. Sa Coke team yun. And then their governor, the team governor was si Boss JB Bailon, who is also a UP alumnus. Nagsama sila to convince me to be part of that Coca-Cola team. So yun yung kwento noon.
Destiny talaga. Ayaw na. Sorry coach, yung 10 years na nag-corporate ka, wala kang wala kang coaching naman. Yun
yung magkasama side by side. 5 years puro lang puro corporate.
And yun. So yung 5 years na yon, talagang wala kang coaching. Trabaho.
Yeah, wala. And may mga coaching ako sa Xavier.
Maliliit lang.
Mga Xavier team, yung mga kaibigan ko, mga alumni, mga kaibigan ko.
Mga alumni league.
Alumni league. Tapos kasi extra income ko rin 'yon, di ba?
Pagdating mo scrimmage lang 'yun eh.
Tapos yung may yung inter before kasi malakas pa yung yung laban ng mga inter-Chinese. Hindi. Yung 'di ba, yung labanan ng alumni, Grace, Hope, Chiangkai, tapos
so small teams lang.
Parang lang to, mga puro kasi mga kaibigan ko mga kaibigan ko lang.
So 5 years corporate plus balit na coaching. I'm sure nung time na yun, hindi ka na talaga tumitingin na magko-coach ako.
Wala na.
Then you get offered Air 21. When you entered Air 21, coach, yun na yun? Sina Ranidel na, Arwin, Winnie.
Si Renren.
Renren. I can only imagine na parang, wow, like superstars. Diba?
Kakainin ka talaga. Bata, kasing edad, halos kasing edad eh.
Yun nga yung parang paano yung coach? Paano mo na handle yun? I mean, first ever PBA head coaching job. Ganun kaagad. Kaedad mo. Ranidel de Ocampo na kaagad.
Sila Arwin pa. Sila Gary, sila Homer si Doug Kramer. Yan yung championship team na. Si Ervin Soto.
Wesley, Wesley there pa?
Wesley was there. Marami sila. There was almost malakas yung team na yon, Pero una kong ginagawa kasi ang mga team, yung typical me. Typical me na kakausapin ko mag-isa. Sabi ko, just be honest. Mas may alam kayo sa akin. Ano ba gusto niyo gawin? Di ba? Pero ang kaibahan kasi niyan na Mikey, meron kaming guiding principles from the owner na basang gusto ko mabilis. Gusto ko nagfo-full court press. Yan yung mga gusto niya, mabilis, no? Gusto niya 3-point shooter. So nandun sila Renren, sila Winnie Arboleda, sila Egay Bellones, mga shooters 'yon, no? So yun yung sa akin personally, ang struggle ko was more on really wanting to win and not
Pakiramdam niya, malayo yung angulo. And this is what you're saying, first timers in the finals here, and they really have to handle pressure right away. We're only in the first quarter, but maybe Coach Bo
letting my principals parang feel bad about appointing me. Yun yung laging feeling ko na binibigyan ka ng responsibility. Parang gawin mo ng tama, binigyan ka ng tiwala, So kinausap ko sila isa-isa. I talked to them. I remember talking to Renren kasi si Renren yung pinaka-scorer namin . Ren, ano bang pwede natin gawin? Sabi niya, Coach, basta gamitin mo lang ako.
Renren nga yan. Renren nga.
Tapos, alam mo na kung bahala. Yung mga ganon. So, yeah, then we had lots of fun at that time. Kasi nga una kong venture ko sa mga PBA stars, no? And kung maririnig yung mga interviews ni Arwin, ni Gary, ni Ranidel, no? Yung kuya niya, si Yancy, pag pinag-uusapan nila Air 21 Days, one of the yun daw yung pinakamas fun sa kanila kasi parang walang pressure . Laro lang kami, yung coach namin, bata pa, pinapabayaan lang kami, ano bang gagawin namin. But there's always alam mo, ang natutunan ko kasi, Mikey, lalo na if you get to let people do what they want to happen, nagkakaroon ka ng ng emotional investment sa kanila. Yung tawag ko emotional investment na there will come a time na pag siningil mo sila, magbabayad sila. Eto, pag kailangan ko, pare, itong laro na to, kailangan natin para pumasok tayo. Talagang ibibigay nila lahat. Parang, ito, pinagbibigyan tayo ni Coach, ibigay naman natin sa kanya to. Yung may ganun bang pakiramdam na talagang magpapakamatay sila para sa'yo. Yung parang, yun yung investment mo . So, nag-invest ka sa kanila . Pinagbigyan mo yung gusto nila, there will come a time na sisingilin mo naman sila. So yung mga ganung bagay.
This is exactly like your last statement. This is exactly the reason why talagang believer ako . Because I always say this, that I didn't make it to the PBA, I didn't make it to the league. But I always said na if I reached Coach Bo at naglaro ko kay Coach Bo, hindi ko sinasabing sure aabot ako, pero malalaman ko kung pang-PBA ako. It's because I really felt like I'm also the type that I don't like being micromanaged. Gusto ko like, tingin mo, basta kailangan natin manalo, ito gagawin natin, gawin mo na ng paraan. That's why it shows ngayon pa lang na you were always a player's coach. You were always putting them first. Kumbaga, anong kailangan natin, what will help you guys be successful. Diba? It was always a two-way street between you and your players. And it showed.
Yeah.
Unang season mo pa lang, diba? Maganda na. Unang pasok ko sa PBA na head coach ka, maganda na. And then from there, nakuha ka ng Powerade. Like what you said, nag-assistant ka muna kay Coach Kenneth.
Right.
And then from assistant to Coach Kenneth, naging head ka na.
Yeah, naging head ko. Coach Kenneth was elevated to be an alternate governor of the team. No? So, and then, during those times, ganun din yun, Mikey, kasi you just can imagine, I had Asi Taulava, Coke pa yun, no? I had, yun yung mga, sila Mark Tilan, Nick Velasco,
John Arrigo, nandiyan na ba?
Si John, paalis na si John at that time. I remember, pero during the trades, inabot ko na sila Chris Ross, sino tong assistant ko sa UPC,
Alex,
si Alex Cabagnot. So doon kami nagkasama ni Alex, no, doon pa lang. And then dumating na sa amin si Gary. So and then eventually in one of those drafts nakuha na namin sila JV, Casio, and then si Marcio, Sean, Anthony.
With a team like this, ito na, nabibuild nyo na. So it started from Coke. Obviously, you had big names, Asi and those guys. Siyempre, magpo-form na yung Powerade. Ito na, may isa-isa na kayo. I think this is when you were handling the team, tapos nagre-rebuild ka na at the same time. Kasi sa Air 21, you said when you entered, yun na yun Arwin, Manidel, malakas na So ito, binibuild mo unti-unti. This is where the recruitment or the tinitignan mo skills come in na ito yung mga kailangan nating pieces. So like, let's just, for example, the JV Casio over Paul Lee. That was a big, kumbaga you can't go wrong whether you go JV or Paul Lee. You had the first pick, if I'm not mistaken. You had the first pick. Yung mga ganong decision, coach, I'm sure you were on top of it. Yung mga ganong decision, would you get the best available talent, which was Paul at the time, or kumbaga yung sasakto sa'yo na JV? Kasi JV, cerebral
si JV kasi, there was a time na talagang we really thought about it. In fact, me and Boss JV Bailon went to the Jones Cup, to watch the Gilas 1, para panurin talaga. Kasi we had the first pick, I think there was a fourth pick, first, fourth, and seventh. So tatlo yung first round namin, and then magiging available yung Gilas na yon. So we were discussing sino ba yung bagay in a rebuilding team, and talagang grabe yung palaisipan na yun versus Paul and JV, kasi Paul, when we invited Paul to join our practices, talagang super yung talent ni Paul.
Pwede na talaga.
Alam mo, But when si JV nung nakikita mo siya sa Gilas, he was a number 1 point guard at that time. At alam mo na yung leadership niya as a true point guard na talagang nangangailangan ka ng ganun Alam mo kailangan mo sa team na ganun. So if there was just a way to just get both of them, talagang gagawin mo. Pero wala you have to pick one. And what we needed at the time was direction, It was direction talagang doon sa guardian na who's going to be directing. And Paul was the one who's going to score for you. Talagang nandoon siya. So kaya maswerte kami when we picked JV, hindi pinik si Marcio as a third it was sino yung kasama niya?
Chris
Lutz. Chris Lutz.
Sa Petron.
Sa Petron. So then naging available naging available siya. And then we were able to secure Sean, I think, through some trade. So silang tatlo ang naging part talaga niyan nung core. And then we had Gary from a trade. Then we had Dog from a trade. Sila Rommel, Adupol. Yan yung mga magandang mix na kasi meron kang mga veterans na very selfless, but at the same time you had newcomers na walang pakundangan, na walang pakialam kung San Miguel ka, kung talk and text ka. Kasi yun yung Mikey, yun ang natutunan ko rin. And if you rebuild the team, you really have to have a new mindset, Yung parang bagong pag-iisip na walang perceived notion na malakas si ganito malakas si Lasal malakas si Ateneo walang ganon. Na pagpasok mo doon, hindi, kaya ko yan. Yun yung dinala ni Marcio, ni JV, ni Sean. Kasi bagong mindset, hindi, laban tayo.
Tama.
Ganon yung pag-iisip.
For lack of a better term, ignorance. Kumbaga, hindi pa nila alam. So maganda, like bagong panganak ka, wala ka pang takot. Kumbaga, laban lang kung laban. Di mo naman alam kung ano yun. So I think doon nag-start. This was the first team, if I'm not mistaken, na talagang binild mo ground up. So, from via trades, so that was a good pick kasi it was your need versus best available talent. Because I think it was obvious naman during that time that Paul Lee was the best available talent. But now that you think about it, it worked out well. You get an elite point guard, and then you get a super scorer in Marcio. So that was a great draft for you, obviously. And then you get a Gary David, whom dito talaga yung Gary went from star to superstar.
Yeah.
And this was the time also that I was already being coached, or coach na namin si Coach Ricky. That's why we were somewhat invested with the Powerade team, that Powerade team. Kasi coach na namin si Coach Ricky. Tapos, syempre magmiminti si coach kasi finals, 'di ba? So we would also mga semis nunood kami, 'di ba? So, yun nga, actually pag one time nga pagdating ni coach, may bagong kotse, sabi namin, "Oy, mukhang maganda-ganda yung mukhang maganda-ganda yung bonus ng Powerade." But how did that work out? Like with the relationship, this is the start kasi you were a player's coach and then you always had a superstar. So it was always Gary, Kiefer, Paul. So this is the feeling ko, this is the main guy mo muna, Gary. How did you maximize a talent like Gary David going from magaling ka to biglang household name siya nung Powerade days? How do you handle someone like that?
Alam mo yung nakikita ng tao kasi syempre yung end result ng produkto, nakikita nila yung performance ni Gary, nakikita nila yung relationship mo sa court, pero hindi nila nakikita yung struggle, okay? Yung behind the scenes, no? Yung backstage, na there were times na talagang inaaway ko si Gary, no? Inaaway ko siya.
Gary David, at dahil doon, 2 foul na dito.
At the same time, inaaway ko siya in a sense that tinatama ko yung pag-iisip niya, no? And he admits that in most of our interviews together, nang pinagsasabihan ko siya na ito ang gagawin mo. But ganun pa man, he was known to be a scorer pero hindi big game scorer. Hindi yung mga big games winner, Doon ko siya nakita nung I think that was the first game of our series against BMEG against Coach Tim. Yung number 8 kami, na talagang lumabas yung kanyang kasi si Gary would score all season long, playoff. Basta score lang siya, but parang you have this sense na parang when you needed it most, hindi nakakapag-deliver. Alam mo, may mga scorer na gano'n eh. Pero during that time, talagang nagawa niya. At makikita mo na ako personally, nakita ko yung pag-transform niya from just a regular scorer into a big game scorer, winner. Okay? Doon ko nakita yung pag-transform niya na parang siya, from caterpillar to butterfly.
Yeah.
All in one game. Doon siya nag-transform.
There's an interception. Gary David! Yes, sir! Gary David ties the game! Short! Gary for 3! Yes, sir! Gotta watch out, no timeouts. Gary David with 27 points. Make that 29. Gary David with 29. Gary David with 32! He's looking at my hands are so hot! Gary wide open.
Kasi ang nun was James Yap. Kumbaga,
James Yap,
James Yap.
Kirby,
Tapos biglang
Raimundo.
nagulat ka sumabay si Gary. Kasi Gary was, yun yung, I think that was it yung gumagano na siya, na nagugulat na din siya. But dun, I think ito yung ayon na, nakita natin yung Gary David na gano'n. But they didn't see how you gave him the confidence from day one na talagang, sige, kahit nagmimintis ka, sige, kumbaga, masushoot din yan. Diba? Masushoot din yan. And I think that's where yung mga hindi nakakaintindi come in na parang, bakit parang pinapatira lang niya? Bakit parang pinapabayaan lang niya? Ganyan. They don't know that that's what a player needs sometimes to really bring the best out of them, diba? And see the best out of them. So when Gary became biglang in one game naging superstar na siya. That was, hindi naman sa hindi siya magaling noon pero like yun yung iba eh. That was James Yap level siya bigla. Tumuloy-tuloy na. You gave him the reins na, especially during that run. Talagang sige, coach, so totoo lang, like bigay niyo yung bola kay Gary, ganun. That level.
And it wasn't just my decision. It was a team's decision because they can see yung prowess niya at sa series na yon. No, yung nakikita mo yung sinasabi niya nagbabaga yung mata niya, nagbabaga yung kamay niya. O yung nandun yung makikita mo pag hyper si Gary, na parang gumaganon siya, nanginginig siya palagi.
They're gonna say no need. 125, 117.
So yeah, yun. And it really helped that Marshall was there. He was a steadying factor. Sean was our energy guy, and of course Marshall, no, and all the rest, no. And andun nga sila dog nga nandun yung buong team, no, na nagbigay talaga ng support. So yeah, tama yun. No, you have to, and your relationship namin ni Gary went back pa sa Air 21. Because siya nandun siya sa Air 21.
So ano yun, Coach? Kumbaga, it wasn't a struggle na Gary was our main guy. Gary is our main guy. It wasn't a struggle with the others. Kasi nga, Marcio is a two-way player. And Marcio was young during that time. So I don't think, and Marcio, ano naman si Marcio, kumbaga, I'm just gonna do what you need me to do. Hindi naman siya ever yung nagkaroon ng struggle. So it wasn't a struggle with Powerade na parang, sige, Gary yung ang superstar natin, and everyone followed, and I think that's where the success came from, 'di ba? Nag-finals, 'di ba, Coach? Natuloy ba? Nag-champion ba? Saan nag-champion ba?
Yung Powerade?
Oo, nag-champion.
Yeah, naglaban kami ng talk and text after that. But we lost in kami noon. I think game 4 or game 5 paabot kami.
Yeah. Pero yun yung talagang that was a crazy time.
And then, kasi naging yun, parang from the least team, number 8, number 1, and then tinalo namin ng sunod noon, tinalo namin ng rain or shine ng game 7. Kaya yun yung struggle nakita ng tao na they were able to parang cheer for us.
Parang naging kayo nun, naging UP kayo nung old, like UP now, that was the environment or the aura nung time na yun, parang biglang out of nowhere, di ba? So, ito na, nakikita na natin yung coaching style and your relationship with your players. From there, how many years after that run before Ateneo?
Sandali lang. Kasi siguro after 2 seasons, again, the Coca-Cola franchise was bought by the San Miguel franchise.
Nawawala ka lang dahil
binibili, no? Bought by so that was when Congressman Mikey Romero siya yung nag-take over noon. No, in fact, I was really supposed to be part of that team also. When I get to message si Congressman, sabi ko nagsabay na yon, no, na there was an offer from the Ateneo kasi yun yung paalis na si Coach Norman. Yun yung time na yon. Paalis si Coach Norman, binenta yung Coca-Cola na nag-take over si Global Port. But I had 1 more year as in my contract, but nakiusap na rin ako kay Boss Mikey na kung pwedeng I could pursue the Ateneo offer.
Where did that what was the factor in that decision na you go from PBA to college? Pero like it's a step lower. I mean, exposure is, 'di ba, higher sa UAAP, by UAAP, pero like it was still a level lower. Saan nanggaling yung na yun, yung decision na yun na
well,
Gary
siguro
David
dahil
to Chris Newsome?
Feeling ko I really, well, as a person kasi, Mikey, I really don't think about the levels. No, hindi ko iniisip yon na masikat ako rito, hindi ako masikat dito, mas maraming tao. Wala parang sa'yo, parang it just becomes a what does your heart tell you?
Yeah.
Ano ba yung sinasabi sa'yo? Nasaan ba yung gusto mo? Pinagdadasal mo? So at that time, yun nga, sino ba naman mag-iisip na tamang pag-iisip, kukunin mo yung isang team na galing sa 5 peak? Di ba? Ni Coach Norman, di ba? So sabi ko, Coach, anong gagawin mo dyan? 5 feet yung team na yan. Kahit anong gawin mo, wala kang panalo dyan. Sabi ko, somebody has to do the job, di ba? Okay naman. Kasi when I was able to talk to Boss MVP, sabi niya, Coach, rebuilding na yan, ha?
Tapang mo nun.
Rebuilding na yan. So, So binigyan niya kanya ng kontrata na ganito, sige, let's do it in 3 years, tingnan natin kung anong mangyayari and all of that, no? Yeah. So yun yung kwento from Powerade to Ateneo, no? So yun yung ano niya.
Kumbaga, it's a new challenge. It's a new challenge that you wanted to take on. And of course, ang tapang mo nga, coming from a 5-peat, wala ka talagang panalo. Kung mag-champion ka ulit, everyone's still gonna talk about Coach Norman's 5 before your 1. If you don't, kahit second place ka lang, kahit 1 point lang yung talo mo sa game 3, patay ka na naman. And also, I think this isn't a secret that alumni sa Ateneo, grabe. Kumbaga, they're very invested in that team. And I think that can be a good thing naman. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Pero like the pressure is there. Plus, hindi ka Atenista, if I'm not mistaken. So, this was the struggling years of our struggling years. You didn't get any offers from UP. Ay, kasi nandun si Coach Ricky. Didn't Coach Ricky like talk to you na dito? Try? Kumbaga, assistant, maybe you assist him or you work together na during those years?
Sa UP?
No, kasi coach namin si Coach Ricky nun.
No, because there was a time na sorry, ano yan, ang timing kasi niyan is, di ba, nag-Powerade na sa UP na siya, no? Yeah. I was still the head coach of Powerade. And then when I got
yung shift.
Sakto yun. So when I was able to get the offer from Ateneo, he was already coaching UP. So sakto na yung timing niyan. In fact, baliktad yung nangyari after a year.
Sa inyo.
I got him to be part of the program of Ateneo, which he was really part of. As a program head of basketball for the longest time.
Tagal na. Parang bumalik siya sa Ateneo nun. But this is an experience that I had before pa. Kakarating lang ni Coach Ricky. Alam mo naman si Coach Ricky, established niya kagad yung presence niya. So unang practice niya, upo kami ni Nasilungan, Alvin Padilla, Mark Lopez, upo kami, bagong coach. Pinagmumura kagad kami ni Coach Ricky, wala pa. Sabi ni Coach Ricky noon parang so I'm Coach Ricky Dandan, I'm your new head coach, ganyan. Anyone who doesn't follow kung ano yung sasabihin ko, tas biglang minura kami kagad lahat, you will be fucked. Parang ganun na kagad siya. So syempre na-establish na kagad, okay, Coach Ricky is here. Practice kami. Nandun ka. I'm sure hindi mo na maalala to, but nandun ka first day of practice ni Coach Ricky.
Yeah, I was there.
And then, alala ko, layup drill kami. Tapos lumayup ako. Upo ka lang dun sa gilid. Sa ilalim ng ring, nakaupo ka dun. Layup ako, nag-roll yung bola ko papunta sa'yo. I knew it was Coach Perasol. Kukunin ko yung bola, sabi mo sa akin, ikaw ba si Mikey Reyes? Sabi ko, yes, Coach. Sa loob-loob ko, alam na ata nila na ako ata ang sakit sa ulo dito. Alam na ata ako. So doon pa lang sabi ko, alam na ni Coach Bo na ako yung problema dito. Ganyan. So that was kumbaga, naalala ko yun that you were there. And then, fast forward, you go to Ateneo, new challenge, Kiefer Ravena, Chris Newsome, Von Pesumal, they were coming into their own. Did you reach Greg Slaughter pa, Coach?
Hindi na.
So it was Kiefer, Chris, Von.
Yeah, sila yung mga nun.
And bagay ka na naman kasi may superstars ka na naman. I always said this, Coach Bo is the perfect team for superstars because you will give them the green light. You will give them the freedom to maximize what you can do. So,
head coach of the Blue Eagles is Perasol.
What was that like coaching the Phenom? And then you had the Chris Newsome coach na can do it all eh. So hindi mo rin siya pwedeng this is a Kiefer team. Kasi may Chris ka eh. Tapos may Von ka pa. Diba? So how was that like na i-mix mo silang lahat to fit?
Alam mo ang kaibahan, Mikey, kasi ng Ateneo program sa ibang programs, no? Yung mga players doon, although pag sinasabi mo kahit na may Topak o Star Complex and all of that, wala silang pero wala sila, hindi sila mahirap i-handle. Kasi nanggaling sila sa programa ni Coach Norman eh. 'Di ba? Alam mo 'yon na disiplinado ka, sumunod ka. This is all about our team. Just imagine mo, galing sila dun sa winning program. So ako, nung lumapit ako doon, para ka lang nanunood. Okay? Ang ginawa ko lang actually doon was just to be part of their recruitment team. no, na doon mo na nakuha yung mga sila Isaac, okay, then sila Ike, okay, at that time, syempre yung heavily recruited at that time na nawala na rin sila Arvin Tolentino, sila Coco Pingoy, Hubert Cani,
sa'yo lahat yun, di ba, Coach?
Lahat yan, no? Pumasok si
CJ,
si CJ, and then yan, pumasok na si 30. Yun yung mga panahon na yon, but they were young, no, hindi pa umano yon. So yung struggle ko sa team wasn't hindi dahil dun sa ano, kasi si Kiefer is a leader na pinapakinggan alam mo yon, pinapakinggan siya ng kanyang mga teammates. So kahit na he's going to take most of the shots, pero pinapakinggan siya kasi he's also selfless in a way na basta whatever it takes to win. You know, kung libre ka diyan, Von, high school pa lang magkasama na sila ni Von. Si Nu naman, matagal na rin sila magkakasama. Si Frank Golia, Wami Chongson, no, si Nico Elorde. Kumbaga ba, ito yung bunch na malakas pero walang magagaling, pero wala masyadong wala masyadong topak, no, wala yung nagwawala-wala, walang ganon, no. So madaling i-handle yung bunch ng players ko na yun.
So ano ka sa Ateneo? Kumbaga it wasn't, I think the struggle came because Ateneo was
aiming for the championship every year.
It was championship or bust.
Yeah.
Championship or bust.
He said that when any one of them gets going, the other two follow. And so it is crucial.
And I think ako na lang magsasabi nito, but I think the alumni or the supporters more or less, wala namang pakiyan kung rebuilding ka, Coach.
Oo, totoo yan.
Pakiyan. Kumbaga, Ateneo tayo Hindi tayo nagre-rebuild. So no, it's championship or bust kahit then next year papasok na si ganyan. Hindi, like ngayon pa lang, we wanna win, di ba? So, I think that was kasi nag-coach din dad ko sa college sa San Beda. So I know na more or less yun yung environment na talagang championship or bust. Laki ng ginagastos So kailangan natin mag-champion, di ba? So how was that? Is this the first team na talagang there was pressure? There was pressure coming from outside, external?
Alam mo, I've been asked a lot of times about that, no? Pero alam mo, siguro dahil din sa balikan natin yung sinasabi ko sa iyo kanina, Mikey, na malalim yung paniniwala ko about why I am doing this. No, it's not because of the pressure. I wanted to win all the time. I wanted to have a better team who can compete. But at the end of the day, yung pressure ko sa PBA, yung pressure ko sa siguro sa high school konti lang dahil wala namang masyadong expectations, pero yung sa PBL, sa MBA, pareho lang You know, kasi ang pagtingin ko naman sa outside factors or outside pressure is just it's a constant Hindi wala ka namang magagawa diyan No matter what you're just going to deal with that regardless. Tulad ng sabi mo, it's just the way they are, no? They're used to winning, they want to win, and you can understand that. No, if you're going to break your mind thinking about that, or if you're going to break your heart feeling about that, it's not going to help you at all. So you early on na-realize ko na yan. And sa Ateneo, I had a very strong support team. Yung support team ko diyan, yung sila Father Nemi, sila Debbie, sila sabi nila, coach, huwag mong isipin yung mga yan. Parang just coach. And in true fashion, doon sa 3 taon ko sa Ateneo, although alam mo naman na maraming they were asking for my head to be axed and all of that. Walang nakialam. Walang nagsabi sa akin, ito coach, pwede mo bang gawin ito? Wala talaga.
Wala talaga.
Walang makakapasok dun sa
bubble
namin,
na yan.
sa inner circle namin na walang ganun. So at the end, in the end, lagi kong sinasabi, ang accountability naman at saka responsibility all boils down to me. So pagkatapos ng season, ako yung sisihin, but I can live with that. Hindi naman ako yung mamamatay dahil sa ganyan, 'di ba? For as long as I can live with sinabi mong ay ginawa ko yung best ko in my all my capacity. And in all fairness and thanks to the MVP group, talagang there was a time na nag-waver yon, pero they never left me out, no? Bahala ka diyan. Of course, sinasabi nila tanggalin ka, tatanggalin ka na namin. No. In fact, I was the one who suggested to them, no, in one of our meetings. Sinabi ko, boss, and Father Jet at that time, sabi ko, boss, Father, maybe this is the right time that you replace me.
When was this?
Siguro, my third season.
Coming into your third season.
Gitna na ng third season.
Okay.
Gusto na lang kasi palakasan ng palakas yun eh.
2000 to, coach? Sorry. 14?
13, 14, 15 siguro yan. 15. So yung clamor talagang malakas, no, siguro. And then they met with me. Sabi ko, this is the right time to that you replace me. In fact, I was giving them suggestions. Although there was Coach Sandy, there was Coach Ronnie at that time. Marami akong sinasuggest sa kanila. Okay, but I told them, if you make a decision, this is the time para pwede pang bumawi, And then kung hindi naman, at you're going to decide that you are going to retain me and let me finish, kasi usapan naman natin pagkatapos nito, tapos na rin naman eh. Okay, if you're not going to replace me, then make a statement, that you're going to support me until the end para matapos na to, na wala na, don't waste your effort in trying to talk about it kasi wala rin namang mangyayari. Then let me finish. Parang ganyan.
Kumbaga, just extra distraction lang kasi.
Yan, so parang ganyan na tapusin mo lang. Kaya I had all the highest respect to sa Ateneo and how they dealt with me, how they treated me there, the way I learned from them. Yun yung mga bagay na yun na napakalaking bagay, which I was able to bring to UP. So dala-dala ko yun. Yung ganyan.
Just to put it out there, because of, syempre, nagka-friction kami ni Coach Ricky nung time niya sa UP, tas yung time ko eh. Sakit sa akin nung namintis ko yung free throw, Coach.
Oo.
Sakit sa akin yung Coach. Sabi ko, tatalunin ko na sina Coach Ricky. Tatalunin ko. Medyo masakit sa akin.
Pero yung mga bagay na yan, Mikey, is going to be, tatatak sa isip mo yan. But those are, ang tawag mo dyan, parang yung abrasion yan sa pagkatao mo eh.
Naman!
Which is going to, parang magiging to make you on your toes, na pag hindi ka it's going to make you better.
Yeah.
It's going to make you better.
Close, guys, to beating Ateneo. Oh my gosh.
Totoo yan. Yeah.
Pero foul talaga yun, Coach. Foul talaga yun. Alam mo yun, foul talaga yun. So, ito na. Then your third year ends sa Ateneo. It wasn't as successful as you'd want it to be, or what the expectations were. But I really believe Kiefer Avena was good. Like Gary David, magaling na yan. Pero he entered another level when you coached him. Kasi talagang gawin mo yung kailangan mong gawin. You're smart enough to know kung ano yung dapat hindi mo gawin at kung ano yung dapat mong gawin. So pinabayaan mo si Kiefer. So I really believe talaga na yung superstars, next level pag ikaw humahawak. So from there, from what I know, Coach Renzi was handling UP, Coach Renzi, Coach Alan, Joward, diba? They were handling, which by the way, si Joward ang nagtanggal sa akin. So yung tatlong yon. And then you come in. This was 2016.
Yeah.
16. You come in. More or less, pag ganyan na yung UP. Kumbaga, nag-1 na sa amin, nag-3 na, tas nag-5 sa'yo. Tama, Coach?
Right.
Oo. So, pagpasok mo ng UP, this was a team that was struggling for a decade now. So, what was the initial talks muna na, okay, this is what we have to do. This is what we need to take that next step, 'di ba? Na talagang ikaw yung naging center, syempre. Ikaw yung coach.
Okay. What do you mean with struggling for a decade? It's been struggling for 3 decades.
Hindi, pero at least nagpa-Final Four pa kay na kay na Marvin Cruz, medyo lumalaban pa eh. Nung sa amin, gusto ko lang sabihin, nung sa amin, 0, 1, 2, 0, ganun. So, nung pagpasok mo, wait coach I think this is a less risky team compared to Ateneo nung unang pasok ko sa Ateneo. Kasi Ateneo 5 feet. Number 2, kahit anong sabihin natin, hindi ka tenista. Dito, kahit papaano, uuwi ka, it's a struggling team. So, kumbaga, how was that first pasok?
Yung risk na yun, Mikey, wasn't about the winning. The risk there was personal. Kasi career move ang UP eh.
Masisira. Coach, ang dami nang humindi sa UP. Ang dami na. Alam ko na lahat. Siyempre, parang pag nag-coach ako sa UP, matatapos ang coaching career ko dyan, di ba?
Yeah,
that was the,
totoo yun.
That was
Pero
the risk.
I was willing to do that, Mikey. Kasi sabi ko nga sa iyo kanina, full circle na eh.
Bumalik ka na.
Naano ko na eh, naikot ko na eh. So parang, babalikan ko ulit yung sinasabi ko sa iyo na I never wanted to really become a coach. Ayaw ko talaga maging coach because of yung wanting to win all the time. I didn't like the stress of that. Na parang kahit na maliit na kailangan manalo ka kahit na tournament sa Northeast Green Hills o sa Angliga doon sa basta team mo yan, mabubwisit ka pag natatalo ka. Just imagine every day or every day of your coaching life, yun yung stress. Ayaw mo eh. So parang sa akin, it's not for, I mean, I don't know if there are coaches out there na okay lang sa kanila yung matalo, no? Sa akin, hindi eh. That's yun yung personal ko na feeling lagi na hindi ko gusto yung ganong feeling.
Yeah. You become obsessed with it. You become obsessed with it. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Yung sabi mo nga kanina, it doesn't matter who you go up against.
Yeah.
You wanted to have a game na commensurate doon sa ginagawa ninyo everyday kasi you practice every day, di ba?
Yeah.
So yun yung sabi ko sa iyo na when I took over UP, it was more of a ano bang gagawin dito, no? Kasi tulad niyan, yung stint ko sa Ateneo wasn't that successful, and then pupunta ka, ikalulugmok mo na talaga ito, di ba? So, kinausap ko rin yung wife ko, no? I got to talk to my wife. Sabi ko, baka ending na natin to.
Potential end of the career na to.
Oo, tama na to. Sabi ko, matagal na rin ang ayaw ko eh. Di ba? So, then, simula, and then you could readily feel right away why, kung bakit na talunan ng UP, no? Because of the aura, the environment, I don't know, yung feeling ng mga players, and all of that.
Okay lang matalo. Okay lang matalo. Okay
so
lang.
yung pakiramdam mo, pagpasok mo doon, nararamdaman mo na galing ka sa isang team like Ateneo.
Malayo.
Parang nag-extreme eh. And then that was a blessing because you get to be able to compare and do something about it. And it's not as if it was easy, but at least you understand what will it take for this program to be in the first sa unang banda is at least makapag-acquire man lang dun sa mga pwedeng manalo. So yun yung sinasabi ko, lagi ko kinikwento, yung drill lang na mga layup drills, pag hindi nakukuha, wala lang. Parang okay lang. Nabubulyawan ko sila. Doon pa sa na yun, no? Yung parang talunan ng talunan yung pag-iisip ba. And then they got to, they were able to adjust also. But hindi lang yun yung factor niyan. Napakarami. Yung support ng funding, no? And then yung administration, and it was also a blessing that we're able to, sabi mo nga, we were able to win strings of victories like with Jet, no? Nando kasama namin si Jet, naka 5 wins kami, so parang nabubuhayan yung konti, although konting-konti pa rin ang nanunood, medyo dumadami-dami na. And then the next year, during yung kina Paul na, naging 6, naging 6 wins, and then in the end we were still waiting for Adamson, no, to lose para may chance pa for a playoffs. And parang iniisip mo ba, nagkaroon ng chance mag-Final Four ang UP? Parang ganon.
Totoo.
And then, the key there for me in terms of the personnel was yun yung pagpasok nila Juan.
Yeah.
No, malaking bagay talaga yung pasok ni Juan, pasok ni June. Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina sa yung walang pakialam.
Yeah.
Ignorant. Ignorant sila.
Hindi sila kasama dun sa losing attitude. Tama.
Wala. Yung, Lasal ba yan? Malakas ba yan? O Ateneo ba yan? Wala tayong panalo dyan. Walang ganon.
Puro mayabang lang talaga.
Right. Pagpasok ni Javi, pagpasok ni Bright, di ba? Yun yung mga pag-infuse mo ng mga bagong pag-iisip, bagong mga pakiramdam. So, nahahawa mo na ngayon yung mga nandun na dati.
Kasi sina Diego nun, mga talunan yun eh. Nung unang dating mo, talunan yun. Diego, Jarrell, Jello. Pero kita mo na yun nga, pagpasok nung mga ignorante na naman na talagang maaangas lang. One MVP ako eh. Kumbaga, pakialam ko kung sino kalaban natin dito, di ba? So it was obvious. And again, I think it wasn't a struggle also nung time na yun na si Paul. Paul is our main guy because si atin to, he will do everything he can to win. What was that like when inamin ni Jet to no, in-interview ko siya na medyo nag-aaway sila nung season na yon na sino ba talaga ang face of the team, Paul or Jet? And Jet admitted it na mayroong friction between him and Paul. But when Jet left and Paul was the main guy, how was that conversation with Paul na, Paul, kumbaga, sa'yo na to. Kumbaga, take us home. And I think like you're that type of coach nasasabihin mo sa star mo na, ikaw yung gumagawan mo ng paraan.
Yeah.
Ang importante is salubungin niyo yung bola. Okay, kasi may one foul to give pa sila. Okay? Maga-hard foul yan.
And you can makikita mo rin naman si Paul kasi was a different case kasi si Paul he has his own struggles. Ibig sabihin yung level ng game niya nag-suffer nung before pa, no? So rather than the time when he was in high school, superstar, scorer and all of that. So yung knowing Paul, Paul, yung kanyang emotional stability wasn't that strong at the time. At very transparent yan si Paul. Makikita mo, nakayuko siya. Pero nung dumating si June at nagkaroon siya ng partner, naging malakas yung loob niya, no? Nagkaroon ka ng this was the second ito yung mga second season na meron na siyang kasama. Diyan na rin sila Javi. Okay. So, kasi ako naman, kung bibigyan mo ng natural course yung team mo, makikita mo naman kaagad kung nasaan uuwi yung opensa. Kasi alam mo naman pag pinag-usapan nga namin ni Coach Ricky sabi natin, anong mangyayari dito sa atin pag ibinigay natin, paikutin natin yung bola, pagdating sa dulo, hindi makakashoot yung makakahawak ng bola. Hindi mabuti pa ibigay mo na lang dun sa makakashoot, di ba? Ibilang mo.
Yan yung style na gusto ko. Ba't pa natin papahirapan si Paul din naman titira sa huli? Bigay na natin kay Paul.
So yun yung lagi kong naging filosofiya ko yan sa pagko-coach kung yung level ng talent ng personnel mo is talagang limitado, limitado kasi wala ka namang maluloko sa UAAP paikutin mo, hayaan mo siya, bantayan mo yung score. Di ba? Paikutin mo. Parang trumpo lang yan, pasutin mo.
Kunyari ka pang spread the basketball isa lang din naman titira sa dulo. So that was kumbaga you had talented players pero limited. Let's say Juan, June, Paul, Bright. Pero it wasn't like a 15-man deep lineup na sabihin mo. So in the end, talagang ba't pa natin bibigay kay Paul yung bola 10 seconds to go? Bigay mo na ng 20-15 seconds. Sige, diskartehan mo na Paul. And I think this is where the misconception comes from. It's because limited ka di ba? So, but it paid off. Kumbaga, kita mo naman, 'di ba? How was that? Totoo ba 'yun, coach? Magre-resign ka dapat dun sa halftime? Kasi, ilang tao na nagkwento niyan Magre-resign ka ba talaga dapat na?
Oo, kasi alam mo 'yun, pag nagbi-build ka ng program, ako lagi kong may iniisip 'yan pag may organization ka, as a leader, you need ang leadership kasi for me is equated to influence. Leadership is influence. So when you get to lead, you need to have an influence to your personnel. They need to follow you. They need to be inspired by you. Okay, they need to make sure that you have to make sure as a leader that they understand where you're coming from and where you're going. That's leadership, direction. Nung nakita ko yung time na yon, we went against UE and I was telling them, this is the game that we need to win because this is going to put us in a situation to be in the Final Four.
And
yun yung
UE was struggling during that time.
Yun yung sinasabi ko na kailangan natin yun. And then, my thought was, after seeing them the first half, was they did not care at all. Parang ang iniisip ko noon was, I'm not having an impact with this bunch of players, no? So, ang nasa isip ko, they may be listening to another leader. Pwede silang makinig sa ibang leader, but not me, because I already explained to them na ito yung repercussions niyan, consequences niyan, and all. And yet, they may be pressured, but I still should see a semblance of effort. Pero nakita mo parang naging, in words ni Coach Ricky, parang mga zombie, di ba? Mga zombie kayo diyan. So I was really disappointed and frustrated na sinasabi ko, if we lose this, then we lose another chance. Okay, I'm not going to be part of this. No, so yun yung sinasabi ko sa kanila. And then they responded. They responded after that. But they responded because they can. Yun yung sinasabi ko eh. What kind of leader will you be? What kind of coach will you be if you're not going to squeeze the best out of them? Okay, what kind of coach will you be? So yun yung responsibility mo. No, if I just kept on going and then let us lose that game, natalo kami sa UE and then lost the opportunity, anong klaseng leader ka? Anong klaseng coach ka? Okay, then better leave that, baka hindi ka na inspiring sa kanila. They're not learning from you.
And I think that's where the accountability comes from. You're not the type of coach na pag nagkakalat yung players mo, siyempre, di ba, may fault yung players, pero you're not the type of coach na hindi kasalanan nila, hindi sila naglalaro. It's more of, maybe I'm not the right man for this. Maybe hindi sila makikinig sa akin. So you always look at yourself for adjustments na baka ako yun. So that was the turnaround. You were struggling in the first round. After that win against UE, actually that second half against UE, everything turned around. And then tuloy-tuloy na yun eh. We know what happened there. And then how let's fast forward. How relieved, how much pressure was that game 2 against Adamson? Or not really pressure, but how exciting was that for you as a coach na? Kasi basically you made it to the Final Four. It wasn't a do or die game. You entered the Final Four. You were secured of the spot. Siguro 12th game palang 13th game. I really felt like the Atinto game was game 2 of Adamson because yun yung for the finals. And you going full circle, ito na, this is our chance to make it to the finals. I'm the first coach to ever lead this team again back to the finals. How excited were you as a coach entering that game 2?
Yung game 2 na yun, Mikey, sa totoo lang, parang yun eh, parang it came as a blur, parang parang hindi siya totoo na nangyayari. Alam mo yun. In fact, mabuti na lang na nasa sidetrack ako ng mga maliliit na concerns like ang daming humihingi ng tickets, walang makakapasok ng ganito, o yung nag-aaway-away dahil nga walang opportunity for the other alumni to watch it. So at least na ilalagay ko yun doon. Pero kung sinabi mo na I thought about this is the time, wala eh. Parang
just
parang
another
akin,
game?
Hindi another game, parang it was surreal. Parang walang nangyayari, parang kang lumulutang. Parang you were just part of what's happening. And it was so, I mean, if you watch the 2 games, Adamson could have won it, Parang both
Destiny.
pareho naman. Yung parang nakisali ka lang. Sinasabi nila, Coach, you really made some good adjustments. Hindi, no, sabi ko, parang ano lang yun, parang part lang ako doon na nakisakay ka lang. Parang it was meant to happen. And then parang it was just so unfortunate for Adamson to be part of that. No, but they deserved it too. In fact, dapat panalo din sila.
Totoo,
diba?
totoo. Pero sasabayan sana naman kita batukan si Jari Lim kung hindi kayo nanalo nun eh. Pabatukan ko din naman si Jari Lim nun eh. Pinag 3 points pa si Lastimosa. Ayos na eh.
Camacho to the corner. Lastimosa for 3. Oh my goodness! There's the up fake. Lim tried to recover. There's 2 guys there.
Not from that angle.
He hit it off.
But that type of game, how, kumbaga, grabe siguro yun. Like, you enter the finals for the first time in how many years? Diba? Decades, actually. And then, like what you said, coming from that journey na full circle ka, coming from your first pasok sa coaching, UPIS, and then ikaw yung nag-ano nun. Diba? And then, suddenly, you look at the stands, and then suddenly, ba't ganito? Ano nangyari? Kumbaga, feeling ko from your first balik sa UP to atin to, feeling ko parang dumaan lang na ba't ganun? Bakit biglang ang dami ng tao? Bakit biglang kami na yung favorite team ng, 'di ba, ng mga fans ng UAAP.
They're going to the finals of the UAAP.
87 for the Adamson Southern Falcons.
So, entering that Ateneo series, we all knew na favorites yung Ateneo. But there was just this baka ma-pull off eh. Kasi grabe yung kumpiyansa ng UP niyo, grabe yung suporta, grabe yung momentum. So palay nga natin, baka nga makalusot, di ba? How was that that Ateneo series na you go up against a coach na obviously well respected, you respect the coach so much, and also playing against your former team?
Well, ang una kong nasa isip noon, no? In fact, Mikey, hindi ko napanood yung series na yan. Hindi ko na naisip kung paano namin nilaro yun, no? But Coach Ricky was just telling me, na sabi niya, tol, yung game natin na yun, we were there sa first game, no? Medyo lumayo lang sila nung dulo, pero laban tayo doon, no? And then yung second game, si third D happened, really had a breakout game, napakaganda ng nilaro niya. Okay, so yung lahat ng yon, Mikey, I have to tell you in a candid way na pag sinabi mo yung stance, hindi ko napansin yon. Napansin ko lang yon itong 1 year ago na pinapanood ko. Kasi pagpapasok ka, ewan ko pag mararanasan mo yan, pag magiging coach ka at nandyan na yan, para kang lulutang na ang nakikita mo lang yung bench. Wala nga ako makita kung bulag ako doon sa in fact, wala rin, ang naririnig mo lang yung hiyaw and all of that, pero wala akong pakialam eh. Wala akong pakialam sa sinisigaw ng tao. Na-enjoy ko lang yung Adamson series na yan when I get to watch it in replays, I watch it in YouTube and all of that. Pero walang sa akin yon. Walang naging epekto.
I think it's the same. It's the same with players and coaches. Kasi when I talk to players, ganun din eh. Parang sa first season mo, sa rookie season mo sa UAAP, big deal pa, may tambol, may tao. Pero when you get to your third, fourth, fifth season, parang di mo na napapansin yan, nagpa-basketball na tayo. Minsan nakakalimutan mo pang nasa TV ka eh. Pa-basketball na lang tayo, di ba? So, ito na, coach. After that season, which was very, very successful, biglang you went from seller team to the celebrity team of the UAAP of college basketball.
Yes.
Richie signs. I shouldn't use the word signs kasi college to. Richie transfers. What was that like nung ito na dumating na yung mga respack? Richie, Kobe, who else? And then sina Cancino ngayon na lang pala yun eh. But then yung dalawang yun, nung nakuha niyo yung dalawang yun, which obviously were big names, especially Kobe coming from the States noon. What was that conversation like with both of them? Na okay, paano natin to papaganahin? Paano natin to... Kasi I think that's the biggest question is how did you mix 6 people? 6 yun, coach. Ang dami nun. Compared to Chris, Von, Kiefer, Gary, JV, Marcio, Paul, June, 1. Ngayon, biglang 6. And then I don't think you even, from the start naman, hindi naman ata natin lahat ina-expect na Javi was gonna be like this.
Yeah.
Diba? Kasi nung nagkikwento siya, hindi daw siya pinapansin nung unang dating niya.
Hindi talaga. Hindi talaga. Nakiusap
Totoo
pa yan.
ba?
Talaga.
Na masakit sa ulo si Javi. Sakit sa ulo nung umpisa.
Hindi sakit sa ulo in a bad way. Sakit sa ulo na
nakakatawa.
Nakakatawa na. Abi, ano ginawa mo? Di ba? Kaya nga sinasabi ko sa kanya yan palagi kong pinapaalala kay Javi yan. Sabi ko, lalo na nung nagpaalam siya na hindi siya maglalaro ng season na yon. Pero in a way, sabi ko, tingnan mo nga naman yung tadhana, Javi. Sabi ko, in your first year, kasi I don't know them Galing ako sa iba. Hindi ko naman sila kilala So, nung nagpa-practice na, sabi ko, sino yan? Yung mistizo na yan. Sabi ko, si Javi yan, coach. Galing UPIS sa high school. Ganon. Si Javi at that time was lanky. Hindi mo alam kung ano yung galing niya. No? Nakaka-shoot siya. Pero,
tahimik pa.
Tahimik. Tapos, yung decision-making niya at that time was very questionable. No?
Yeah.
So, piniisip ko now, dumating yung mga ibang players, there was a time na kinausap ko siya and he knows this. Lagi kong sinasabi, kaya nga sinasabi ko, tatandaan mo palagi yan because that is going to be part of your journey. So sinabi ko sa kanya na, Javi, baka hindi ka magiging part ng team na to kasi ano ka pa lang, first year, sabi ko, subukan na, pero nandito ka lang, nako, umiyak si Javi. No, iyak siya na talagang, alam mo, makikita mo, I was impressed by how he really wanted it so bad. No, coach, ilalaban ko to, yung try out ako, tingnan mo yung ganun. This was his first year going to papunta pa lang siya ng first year. Nag-aaral pa siya sa high school noon. And naawa ako kasi nakita mo yung kagustuhan niya and I took a chance on him. Sinabi ko, nako, from then on, doon mo makikita na ganda ng shooting niya, nag-i-improve na siya from time to time. But Javi is not a practice player. No, hindi mo siya makikitaan ng galing sa practice. Pero pagdating ng game, mabibigla ka sa kanya. Alam mo yung gagawa siya ng paraan na si Javi mismo na hindi mo siya tatanggalin.
Tama.
Hindi mo siya tatanggalin doon sa loob.
That's actually what he said. I think ang sabi niya, umikot nung nag-tune up kayo sa Baste ata. Fourth quarter ata siya gumawa na. Parang pinasok mo na lang siya tapos hindi mo na siya nalabas. Kasi gumawa na siya tumuloy-tuloy na.
Na hindi mo siya na halimbawa may ginawa siyang maganda sa game na to. Practice kayo next day. Wala na naman yun.
Ang hirap na nasa coach. Parang 5 araw kita nakita nagsa-struggle. Paano kita ipapasok bukas? Di ba? Pero wala Talagang may mga ganung player.
Pag pinasok mo siya, talagang game player siya. Talagang gagawa talaga siya ng paraan. Makakascore siya pag iniwan mo.
In the thick of the defense, then sends it out to Javi. The triple on the way, gets it to go!
Vero puts his head down to the corner. Javi, another 3, make that 4.
Pass, kicks it out. Javi lines up a 3, gets it to go!
To Happoneta. Javi, corner 3, got a good look. Knocks it down.
Wait, Javi from the corner, gets it to go!
Alam mo yon yung ang tawag ko diyan yung parang catalyst ba siya na do it all guys and then some. And yung rebound siya, papasa siya ng maganda, titira siya. Minsan wala sa flow. Gagawa lang siya ng sarili niyang That's why very special mention yan si Javi.
Hindi. Ako personally, favorite ko si Javi. Of the 6 Fighting Maroons na yun yung mga talagang core, Javi was always my favorite. And I think Javi was the biggest struggle also. Correct me if I'm wrong. As a coach, Javi was the least problem. I think Javi was quiet lang siya. Kung mo, gagawin lang niya. But also, Javi was tough to pull out. Pag pinasok mo na, parang siya lang yung hindi nagre-reklamo, pero hindi ko rin siya malabas kasi ang galing
Tsaka threat, no?
Threat
na pag iniwan mo sa labas, talagang sasaktan ka niya.
So hindi siya magre-reklamo, pero tama rin naman, hindi mo na siya malabas So I think Javi was the one na parang kung hindi ka lang magaling, baka pwedeng sa kanila na talaga yung minuto dun sa talagang mga, di ba, yung mga main guys mo. So I think Javi was the, umepal to si Javi, biglang gumaling na parang, paano kung hindi gagamitin si Javi? Di ba? But, what was that like? Coach, gusto ko marinig galing sa'yo, paano mo nagawa yun? Bright, Kobe, Richie, Juan, June. Ito si June, niloloko-loko to pag nakakausap ko to, sabi ko, hindi, ano ka din, attitude problem ka din, wag mo ko pinagluloko. Gusto mo rin sumut, gusto mo rin sumikat. And inamin niya nung magpapadraft na siya, tapos na siya sa UP noon. Doon lang niya inamin. So, how did you mix all of these? And also, you had great guys on the bench na parang gusto mo rin bigyan ng chance.
Right.
Diba? So, how was that loaded?
Yeah, yung pinaka-struggle kasi ng off-season na yan, I'm sure nakwento na sa iyo to, no? There was no chance at all for all of us to be together. No, walang chance nung nag-off-season kami sa US. Wala si Bright, wala si Kobe, na injured si Richie, injured si Juan. So si Javi ang nandun at saka si June, no? Pumunta kami ng I think that was sa Taiwan. Wala si Juan, wala si Richie, no? So andun si Kobe, nandun si Bright, nandun si June, no? So hindi talaga na kumpleto. And then si Kobe was injured going into the opening, no? So kung ang tanong mo is paano mo i-handle 'yon, I really didn't have an exact formula kung paano 'yan. We just let them play, no? Kasi iniisip ko, alam mo naman na hindi naman it won't take a really intelligent guy to factor in na si Kobe would want playing time. That Richie would like playing time, no? Si Juan would like playing time. Si June is you need him as a point guard, and you need Bright, as a big guy, no? Tapos nandito si Javi. So yun yung pinag-iikutan now. Managing them wasn't hindi yung ang struggle doon wasn't on how to manage it, was how to let them play seamlessly together. Yun yung challenge noon kasi wala namang masyadong nagrereklamo sa kanila except syempre in the end si Juan, but Juan was struggling because he came from an injury also, no? But ang struggle noon was because pag halimbawa nandito si Kobe o nandito si Richie sa kabila o si Junasan nandito o Brightson nandito, so kanya-kanyang atake.
Paano yun, coach? Kaya isa lang ang bola. Paano yun?
Ang kanina kung babalikan mo, ang challenge noon was who's going to be the main attacker.
Exactly. Who's gonna be Paul? Who's gonna be Paul?
So yun yung nagiging struggle noon. Kasi I was encouraging them. Sabi ko, if you can figure it out, we will be very difficult to beat. Kasi tingnan mo ang nangyari, Mikey. Kahit na ganun yung struggle ng UP team, we had the best nandun yung pinaka-best natin na elimination games so far. Wala nang I think alam ba tayo noon?
9 or 10?
9, I think. Kasi tayo yung number 2 eh. Kailan ba nag-number 2? And we were struggling as a team. We were struggling as a team na alam mong merong struggle na nandun pa rin yung nandun yung parang may kuryente lang na konti lang, meron pa rin. Nararamdaman mo yung mga undercurrent, no? Nananalo tayo sa dulo, pero ganun pa man, nananalo tayo.
Nananalo pa din.
Nananalo tayo. Yung struggle natin wasn't on the side na we were not hindi tayo nag-execute, but we were not playing as a unit.
True.
Parang ganon, hindi tayo nagpi-play as a unit, no. So ako kasi okay lang sa akin yung hindi mo ma-execute yung plano. Basta ang sa akin is pag nakita mong libre yung kakampi mo, ibigay mo. At hindi nakita mo na may double team dito at alam mong magaling yung kakampi mo, ibigay mo. Yeah. 'Di ba? So yun yung lagi kong encouragement sa kanila. Sabi ko, I don't care if you decide to attack and break mo yung play natin, okay lang kasi alam ko nanggagaling yan sa place of confidence na kaya mo eh. 'Di ba? Pero naman pag may humelp sa'yo, ipasa mo. Yeah. 'Di ba? Kasi yung mga bottom line yan eh. Yeah. Okay? Kaya nagmumukhang bakawan. Kasi yun yung nangyari na itutuloy na hindi ipapasa. Okay. Yeah. Now, as a coach, you wanted to encourage them to do that, no? Pero hindi mo rin pwede, on the other hand, Mikey, alam mo to, hindi mo rin pwedeng rendahan.
Oo, hindi pwedeng hilahin eh. Bawal
hindi mo rin
bigla.
pwedeng rendahan na, ikot-ikot mo ha, ikot mo yung bola, di isa rin ang pupuntahan yan sa dulo. 'Di ba? Paano yung iba? Ganon din yan ang paano din tutunganga yung iba, no? So, yung struggle na yan, people will not understand that because hindi naman nila nakita yung mga intricacies ng ng personnel, no? And all of that.
And
no.
Parang ang sa UAAP analyst back then nung 2019, sinabi ko yun na parang yes, mas malakas yung team na to on paper. Because last year's team, si Paul lang yun nandun, si ganyan. Pero sabi ko, Paul was the undisputed go-to guy. So, okay, so score si Juan, pero at the end of the day, give it to Paul. That was the struggle with this team na magagaling kayo lahat and there was a struggle. So, sino ba ang magbibigay? Sino ang magsasacrifice na team ni Kobe to, or team ni Richie to, or team ni Juan to? So, everyone was just butting heads at some point. But also, I said, you were the perfect coach for that. Kasi, like we said, hindi ko kayo sasabihin na, stop muna kayo, hindi mo iaakit yung handbrake, but at the same time, papaintindi mo din sa kanila na, uy, magaling din naman yung kakampi mo. Kung pag-drive mo, may help, bigay mo. So, it wasn't the lack of a system. Ako na nagsasabi, guys, sa harapan ni Coach Bo, kasi I would always say this, it wasn't the lack of a system, it was the system. The system was to give them the space to maximize their talents. Kasi mas sasakit sa ako as an analyst, mas magiging din ako, particular ako sa sistema mo if I saw umiikot yung bola. Ako mismo yung, bakit umiikot yung bola ang gagaling ng lahat ng to? Like, bakit parang nag-aalangan umatake si Kobe when he's magaling siya So, binibigyan mo din sila ng space. So, I think that's where the misunderstanding came from. Na parang people were starting to think na hindi sinusunod si Coach Bo, attitude problem lahat to. Walang sistema si Coach Bo. Hindi nila naintindihan that was actually the plan na maximize natin yung mga talent ang gagaling. But obviously, 'di ba, it didn't, kumbaga, again, you were the Adamson of the previous year. Na UST-UP, anybody could have won. Pero of course, 'di ba, buwisit tong si Renzo, sinut ni Renzo, so natalo tayo, but and then the pandemic hit obviously, and then there was a nag-a-announce bigla lahat na hindi lalaro Nag-a-announce lahat na hindi sila lalaro 'di ba, binigay na ni Coach Bo lahat ng gusto ninyo. Bakit kayo biglang ba't bigla kayo aalis? But okay, pandemic happened then. How was that recruitment process, Coach? Na this isn't a secret. May budget kayo ngayon. This isn't a secret. But I think it's your father figure approach that really makes the rookie say na dito ako sa UP. Kasi Cancino was also someone that you talked to, Cancino, Tamayo, Abadiano. Itong mga to na could have gone other schools. Pero what was your, I don't want to say pitch naman, but what was your way of kumbaga kunin yung loob nila na dito kayo sa UP?
Well, in all cases sa sa recruitment, and especially when you get to talk to them, you cannot just, especially if you're recruiting a marquee player, hindi mo naman pwedeng mag-pitch ka lang na dito ka magagamit ka because lahat they know at saka alam mo na alam na nila yun. When they were playing in high school, iniisip nila saan kaya ako bagay. Hindi kasi pag palagay na natin may mga offer yan, pare-pareho lang may offer yan Di ba? Pwede bang mas malaki yung isa, mas malaki yung isa? I really think na immaterial na sa ngayon yan yung mga offers na yan. Sa akin, pareho na lang yan. Ang bottom line yan is, ano ba ang kalalagyan ko sa team na yan? Ano bang excitement na ibibigay sa akin ng team na yan? So, ang lagi ko namang emphasis sa kanila is, number one, you get to have the chance to finally end our championship drought. So, nakikita nila. Kasi makikita nila yung yung pattern na, pumunta nga si Kobe dyan nandyan nga si Juan, nandyan nga si Richie, nandyan si Bright. So, siguro maayos na yan. Kasi hindi mo naman pwedeng gawing lip service lang na hindi maayos kami rito. They have to see a proof, of the system of the organization. And then I'm sure maririnig nila kung masama ang organization ng isang team, no? And secondly, you get to end the drought. Then secondly, you get to do it with equally talented people like you. Nakakayanin ninyo. Hindi lang yung ikaw magaling ka, single-handedly, kakayanin mo 'to. Hindi. Ngayon, 7 kayo, 8 kayo na mga freshmen. Wala na masyado yung mga ahead sa inyo, magkakapareho na kayo ngayon. Okay? So yun yung ang feeling ko na kapag bigay ng excitement sa kanila. And then obviously they get to play to one of the best crowds in the UAAP. You know, kasama din yan, magiging magiging factor yan. You get to play for the UP crowd, you get to have the chance to end the final the championship drought, and you get to play with some of the best in your level. Yeah. So yun yung lagi kong pitch naman sa kanila, and I'm sure they see there's no amount of convincing will convince them if they don't see something from your program.
Yeah.
Wala akong nakikita. Now people go to Ateneo, players go to Ateneo or LaSalle because they see an excellent program. Yeah. Okay, they see an excellent treatment of the players, of the personnel. Okay, so yun yung basically ngayon na naging at par si UP.
Yeah.
Na UP is a destination now, no? Okay. Palagay ko ikaw yung pinaka last na marquee player from high school, Mikey. Na pumunta. Bakit ka nga ba nagdesisyon sa UP?
Mayabang ako, coach. Sabi ko, gusto ko dito, hindi na nanalo. Gusto ko dito, baka sakaling may effect kagad ako. Para hindi ko lang din na-fulfill eh. Pero that's kumbaga, totoo yun eh. When you're losing, words lang yun. You're giving out empty words na maganda dito. Paano naging maganda? Hindi kayo nananalo. Yeah. But because of the gradual improvement at talagang umangat, ngayon, ang dali na, hindi mo na kailangan sabihin eh. Baga, lalapit ka lang, UP. Alam mo na eh, as a high school student, high school player, alam mo na, nakita mo na yung UP the past few years, grabe talaga. Diba? So, I assume lang, ikaw yun yung sasabihin mo, yung on the court, yung you're gonna play with this, you're gonna play with that. Si Gov na bahala dun sa kicker. Si Gov na bahala dun sa deal closer. Diba? Si Gov na yun dun. But it's apparent lang talaga, coach, na you have been kumbaga sa recruitment, laban-laban na ngayon eh. And I think UP is suddenly a destination thanks to the program, of course, na build mo. And not just you, I mean, nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, exactly.
All the alumni, di ba? Na talagang tumutulong-tulong. Sina Ma'am Rubina, talo pa kami. Nandiyan na yan eh. Hanggang ngayon, nandiyan pa din.
Totoo yan.
Diba? So talagang love for school din talaga. And I cannot, kahit ako hindi ako nanalo sa UP, pero feel ko talaga yung love for school. But before I let you go, coach, lastly lang, how excited are you? I don't know kung sino lalaro, sino hindi lalaro. Quickly lang, pag-usapan natin si Kobe, like super fast. Like I saw naman your quote eh. So I know how you felt about that. But what was that conversation like with Kobe? Tama ka din dun eh. Kumbaga, masyadong magaling para tignan natin kung kailan ka lalaro ulit. Hindi na, di ba?
Well, yung si Kobe kasi, noon pa man, lagi yung kasi alam mo yung status niya na lagi mo yung pagkausap mo siya, lagi siyang may plano, no? So anong plano mo, Kobe? Gusto mo maglaro kasi marami siyang opportunities eh. Hindi ko lalaro pa ako next season. That was after. Sabi ko, kumita tayo, babawi tayo. So sige. But then it was canceled. You know, pagka-cancel noon, sabi niya, "Oh, Kobe, paano ba 'to?" Sabi niya, "Coach, sige, ngayon pag meron pa, lalaro ako ulit." No, pero and then wala din ngayong taon, ano? 23 na si Kobe, 'di ba? So, I mean, hindi mo naman pwedeng palampasin yung mga opportunities for him, you know. And totoo yung sinasabi ko na I really feel na two-barreled yan eh, no. Yung isa is itong mga batch nila Carl at saka nila CJ, they get to build their own character and culture, no, na walang name, no. Si Richie na lang yung naiiwan na mag-1 year diyan, and then nandito ngayon si Kobe, you get him to explore his talents at ma-realize niya kung ano yung kaya niya in the end.
Yeah. So as of right now, it's only Javi and Richie.
Ang mga and Noah, yun yung mga nandiyan. Yung mga seniors mo.
One already decided, Kobe just left. Is Bright still, kasi si Bright di rin ako magugulat kung hindi na bumalik.
Si Bright is already nasa Nigeria siya, but
kinasal na, diba?
we talked about we talked about yung future ng team also, because his replacement is already there, si Malik, no? So sinasabi ko sa kanya, look, Bright, if you're going to play, that will be an added incentive for me, but if you're going to look at our program, you have to allow Malik to learn the ropes, no? Wala namang diferensya yan whether you play this year or not, but for Malik there's going to be a difference, but knowing Bright is always going to be for the team's benefit. So sabi ko, whatever, wala namang hinahabong PBA si Bright eh.
Totoo.
Wala namang hinahabol ni Bright dito, he's just going to play. So for the benefit of the program, it's going to be Malik, because Malik is just, indeed, he needs to learn the ropes, he needs to experience games and all of that.
And Malik Diouf is, diba? Obviously, the standard is Ange Kwame. So if you don't get an import who can match up with Ange Kwame, you're gonna lose.
Yeah,
that's just
exactly.
As basic as that, diba? So now you get a 6'7", 6'8", 6'9",
6'11".
6'11" ba? 6'11". So lalaban siya kay Ange. And when I talked to Ange also on this channel, sinabi niya na Malik is one of the guys na talagang laban sila sa sa D-League. Diba? So one, Bright, Kobe, wala na. So Richie, Javi, Noah, and then the rookies na.
Sila CJ na.
CJ, Abadiano, Tamayo, Spencer,
Maymay, Kagulangan.
Pwede na si Maymay, coach. Kasi ito sinabi ko to, wala kayong point. Kung naglaro kayo last season, wala kayong point guard.
Totoo yan.
When I saw it, sabi ko walang point guard.
So si Maymay, nandyan. Dalawa na nga yung point guard because Jerry, and then you still have yung mga magagaling from high school, si RC Kalimag, diba? RC, and then Anton Eusebio, from Xavier, si Miguel Tan. Marami pang mga addition, mga bata lahat yan. John Cork from Cebu. Okay, so these are the guys.
Sinabi ko to na let's not be surprised if when the UAAP comes back, talagang totally different landscape.
Yeah.
Totally different landscape.
Naman,
sabi ko nga si Nonoy, pag bumalik yung 3 years ng Rookie of the Year si Nonoy, coach. 3 years ng Rookie of the Year. Sabi ko, pag balik ng UAAP, 4th year ka na dapat, di ba? But man, the future is bright for UP as always, and diba, thanks to you, no, sobrang diba, that it started there, and I'm just happy na nakwento natin yung story na where Coach Bo started as Coach Bo, and then the struggles of and all the accomplishments as well, diba? Sobrang I just really want to thank you for your time, coach.
Yeah, for me too, Mikey, kasi ako naman, when I get to talk to players, no, I get to have real examples, no. Katulad may kinukwento ko lagi, and one of those examples lagi kong sinasabi is itong mga lately kong mga talks. An example kita, no, kasi sabi ko there's this very talented guy na alam mo na gusto niya, but then again na-realize niya na may marami siyang pagkukulang and all of that. Pero hindi siya tumigil, no? He ventured into something that his passion is right there, no? Nandun pa rin. He gets to be where his passion is, watching basketball, analyzing basketball, and he gets to do what he does best, no? Ito 'yun, no? Hindi lahat nakakagawa nito. Not everybody would be as eloquent as you, pero yan yung sinasabi ko na hindi lahat ng pinaplano mo in the beginning is just going to be realized, no? You just have to roll with the punches, no? Ano yung binigay sa iyo? Ito, hindi mo nagawa to, 'di ba? So you roll with it, you know? So ako, if I stop because people criticize me, where would I be, you know? People will always have their right to criticize people, but you have to understand that ang yung mga hurt people eh. Yung mga nasaktan ng mga tao, yun yung gustong manakit din ng tao, no. But if you don't let them affect you, wala naman eh, you know. So ako nga when I watch the NBA, I get to have my own opinions too, you know. Ako nga, 'di ba, coach ka na, no, what what more yung mga miron, no? Ang sama naman tingnan niya, no? Ganito, sama ang bobo ng coach. Gano'n, di ba? So, I mean, hindi mo pwedeng that's their life. Sometimes you just feel sorry for them.
Yeah. It's just noise. It's noise.
Yeah. And they have their own struggles in life too. And you have to live your life, stay in your own rail, diba? And make an impact wherever you are.
I think yung like this is kumbaga, yes, I admire your coaching style, I admire your journey going here, pero ang mental mo talaga ang pinaka-bilib ako. Kasi hindi pa nga pumuputi buhok mo, coach eh. Kahit sinong coach na mag-coach sa UP, coach siya naman. Coach, like,
pumuputi na rin.
Pumuputi yung buhok, coach eh. Kasi iba talaga eh. Especially now with social media, di ba? Grabe. And di ba, you're always compared to bakit si coach ganyan, bakit si coach ganyan. Like, I'm the one person na talagang, bakit nyo kino-compare? Eh, pareho ba sila ng team? Unang-una, pareho ba sila ng team? Pangalawa, pareho ba sila ng style? So I'm always in lagay mo si coach ganun sa UP. Tingnan mo kung kakayanin niya yung ginagawa niya sa team na yan. It's not the same. I will just straight up say this. Coach Bo is perfect for UP. Coach Ab is perfect for Ateneo. Coach Aldin was perfect for UST. Coach Franz was perfect for Adamson. I really don't believe in kung si Coach Tab lagay mo sa UP, champion yan. I really don't believe in that. I really believe in you built the team based on kung anong paniniwala mo, 'di ba? You're a player's coach. I really believe that you're a player's coach. Your players all love you, 'di ba? Ang galit lang sa'yo siguro yung nababangko mo. Kasi sorry, mas magaling to eh. Nagawa ko. Ito talaga gagamitin ko, 'di ba? That's why I really admire that. Kumbaga, hindi ka nangunguking na bibigyan kita ng minuto when you know na hindi ko naman ikaw mabibigyan ng minuto kasi ito yung star natin, eh, 'di ba? So I really admire that of you. And talagang yung mental mo is something to be inspired by. And hopefully lahat ng mga nakanood ng episode na to this is my first episode with coaches. It really is. And I really wanted it to be you, coach, talagang. And partida, hindi naman ako ever naglaro kay Coach Po. But every time I see you when I visit practice or whatever, di ba? Talagang all respects to you. And I really kumbaga, I really hope that the championship drought will be ended very soon. And I really hope na ikaw yung may hawak nun. Sa totoo lang, coach. Sa totoo lang. I appreciate you for the time, coach. Hopefully, I'll see you soon back on the court. Hopefully, bumalik na lahat. But yeah, stay safe, coach. Stay healthy. And may gusto ko ba sabihin sa UP fans mo, sa UP community, quickly? Usually, binibigyan ko ng time, but I don't know if you would want that.
No, I've said it time and again already, that the guiding principle of how we build our team is to be in a position to succeed. Be in a place wherein we are going to be in the Final Four every year. Who knows if we're going to be in the finals or win the championship? Pero ang pinaka-importante kasi na goal mo bilang coach when you build a program is be in a position always to win and be in the Final Four so that you will have a chance to be in the finals and finally have a chance to be the champions. So yan ang dapat nasa isip palagi when the UP alumni are going to look at our lineup. Ito ba pang Final Four to? Kasi pag Final Four, anything can happen there.
Yeah.
Diba? So that's what our intention is.
That's something to look forward to, coach. Thank you very much, coach.
Thank
Hopefully,
you.
I'll see you soon. Stay safe, stay healthy. And yeah, hopefully matapos na lahat to so we can go back to basketball.
Thank you, Mikey.
Thank you, coach. Thank you, coach. Ingat ka, coach.
Thank you.